17 million tourists are flooding into Malaysia in 2025, and honestly, this number is absolutely wild. While Bali is drowning in overcrowding and Thailand is jacking up their prices faster than you can book a flight, Malaysia is quietly becoming the hottest travel destination in Southeast Asia, and most people have no idea why. If you're planning your next vacation or just curious about what's making this country explode in popularity, the reasons are going to surprise you. Malaysia isn't new to tourism, but something shifted dramatically in the past year. The government rolled out visa-free entry for citizens from China and India, which immediately opened the floodgates. We're talking about two of the world's largest populations suddenly having barrier-free access to pristine beaches, jungle-covered mountains, and some of the best street food on the planet. But that's just scratching the surface. There's a deeper story here about why travelers are choosing Malaysia over every other option in the region. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why this trend isn't slowing down anytime soon. Let's talk money first, because this is where Malaysia absolutely destroys the competition. You can get a full meal at a local hawker centre for around 8 to 12 Malaysian ringgit, which converts to roughly 1.80 to 2.70 US dollars. That's not a snack, that's nasi lemak with chicken rendang, sambal, peanuts, anchovies, and a drink. In Bali right now, that same quality meal in a tourist area will set you back at least $8 to $10. Bangkok isn't much better anymore, especially in areas like Sukhumvit or Silom, where tourist prices have skyrocketed. Malaysia gives you authentic local food at local prices, even in major cities like Kuala Lumpur and Penang. Accommodation costs are equally insane when you compare them. A decent 3-star hotel in Kuala Lumpur averages between 100 to 150 ringgit per night, which is about 22 to 34 US dollars. For that price in popular Bangkok neighborhoods, you're looking at a basic hostel or a sketchy guest house. In Malaysia, you're getting air conditioning, clean rooms, often a pool, and breakfast included. If you bump up your budget to 250 ringgit, around $56, you're suddenly in 4-star territory with incredible amenities. The value proposition is unbeatable. Transportation inside Malaysia makes every other Southeast Asian country look expensive. The KTM train system connects major cities efficiently, and a ticket from Kuala Lumpur to Penang costs around 59 ringgit for a second-class seat, roughly $13 for a 5-hour journey. Grab rides, which work exactly like Uber, are ridiculously cheap. A 15-minute ride across Kuala Lumpur city centre typically costs 12 to 18 ringgit, which is about $2.17 to $4. Even if you decide to rent a car, petrol prices are subsidized by the government, making road trips incredibly affordable compared to almost anywhere else in the region. But here's where it gets really interesting. Malaysia isn't just cheap, it's diverse in ways that most countries can't match. You want tropical islands with crystal clear water? Head to the Perhentian Islands off the east coast, where snorkeling among sea turtles costs absolutely nothing once you're there, and beach bungalows run about 80 to 120 ringgit per night. You want towering mountains and cool highland temperatures? The Cameron Highlands offer tea plantations, strawberry farms, and hiking trails where the temperature drops to 15 to 20 degrees Celsius year-round. You want modern city life with rooftop bars and shopping malls? Kuala Lumpur delivers that, with the Petronas Twin Towers dominating the skyline. The cultural diversity adds another layer most travelers don't expect. Malaysia is majority Malay, but also home to significant Chinese and Indian populations, plus indigenous groups in Borneo. This creates a cultural mashup that's visible everywhere. In Georgetown, Penang, you'll find Chinese temples next to Indian mosques, next to British colonial buildings, all within a 5-minute walk. The food scene reflects this perfectly. One street might have char kway teow from Chinese vendors, roti canai from Indian Muslim stalls, and nasi keramat from Malay cooks. This variety means you could eat 3 meals a day for 2 weeks straight and never repeat a dish. Religious sites become tourist attractions in the best possible way. The Batu Caves, just outside Kuala Lumpur, feature a massive golden statue of Lord Murugan and 272 colourful steps leading to cave temples. Entry is completely free. The Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Mosque in Shah Alam has the tallest minaret in Malaysia and allows non-Muslim visitors outside of prayer times. The Kek Lok Si Temple in Penang combines Chinese, Thai and Burmese architectural styles across a sprawling hillside complex. What's powerful about these sites is their active places of worship, not manufactured tourist traps. You're experiencing genuine Malaysian religious life. Nature accessibility in Malaysia operates on a different level. Taman Negara, one of the world's oldest rainforests at 130 million years old, lets you walk among trees that predate the Amazon. The canopy walkway there suspends you 40 meters above the jungle floor, and the entire experience costs around 5 ringgit entrance fee, roughly $1.10. Compare that to similar ecotourism experiences in Costa Rica or Ecuador, where you're paying $40 to $60 minimum. Kinabalu Park in Sabah, home to Mount Kinabalu, charges 15 ringgit for park entry. If you want to summit the mountain, it costs more and requires permits, but just exploring the park's trails and seeing unique wildlife runs you less than the cost of a coffee at Starbucks. The beaches deserve their own conversation because they range from party destinations to absolute seclusion. Langkawi Island markets itself as duty-free, meaning alcohol and chocolate are significantly cheaper than mainland Malaysia. The island has everything from luxury resorts to backpacker hostels, with beach access remaining public and free. Redang Island caters to divers and snorkelers, with some of the clearest water in Malaysia and coral reefs teeming with marine life. Tioman Island offers a middle ground with great beaches, jungle trekking, and that perfect castaway vibe without being difficult to reach. All 3 islands have budget accommodation options under 150 ringgit per night. Infrastructure development is happening at lightning speed, which addresses one of the traditional complaints about Malaysia. The MRT system in Kuala Lumpur expanded significantly, making navigation simple even for first-time visitors. Automated trains run every few minutes, cost between 1.20 to 6 ringgit, depending on distance, and connect to major tourist attractions. Airport connectivity improved, with KLIA being a major hub for Air Asia and Malaysia Airlines, offering cheap connecting flights throughout Asia. You can fly from Kuala Lumpur to Langkawi for 150 ringgit, about $34, on sale periods. Safety is something travelers worry about constantly, and Malaysia scores surprisingly well. Petty theft exists like anywhere else, but violent crime against tourists remains rare. Women traveling solo report feeling comfortable walking around major cities at night, something you can't say about many Southeast Asian destinations. The police presence is visible but not oppressive. Scams targeting tourists exist but operate at a much lower frequency than Bangkok or Bali. The biggest scam you'll encounter is taxi drivers at the airport refusing to use meters, which Grab eliminates entirely. English proficiency makes everything easier. Malaysia was a British colony, and English remains widely spoken, especially in urban areas and tourist zones. Restaurant menus include English translations. Hotel staff speak English fluently. Even in more remote areas, younger Malaysians typically know enough English to help with directions or recommendations. This removes the language barrier stress that complicates travel in Vietnam or Indonesia, where English speakers are less common. Weather patterns give Malaysia year-round appeal depending on where you go. The country splits into 2 coasts with different monsoon seasons. When the east coast gets heavy rain from November to February, the west coast enjoys sunny weather, perfect for beach days in Langkawi or Penang. When the west coast experiences more rain from April to October, the east coast islands like Perhentian and Redang have crystal-clear conditions. This geographic split means Malaysia never has a true off-season. Some part of the country is always experiencing ideal weather. Food safety concerns that plague other Southeast Asian countries barely register in Malaysia. Street food stalls maintain high hygiene standards, with the government conducting regular inspections and requiring licensing. You can eat from hawker centres without worrying about spending your vacation in a bathroom. Tap water in major cities is technically drinkable, though most visitors stick to bottled water from habit. Ice in drinks comes from filtered water at legitimate establishments. Food allergies and dietary restrictions are understood and accommodated, with Muslim halal requirements meaning many establishments already separate cooking equipment and ingredients. Shopping experiences in Malaysia blend modern malls with traditional markets beautifully. Central Market in Kuala Lumpur sells batik fabrics, handicrafts and souvenirs at reasonable prices, with far less aggressive haggling than you'll find in Bangkok's markets. Pavilion KL and Surya KLCC represent high-end shopping with international brands, but also include affordable local stores and fantastic food courts in the basement. Night markets called Pasar Malam rotate through different neighborhoods, selling everything from fresh produce to cheap clothing to incredible street food. These markets operate for locals, not tourists, meaning prices stay grounded in reality. Cultural festivals happen constantly because of Malaysia's multi-religious population. Chinese New Year brings lion dances and red lanterns throughout February. Hari Raya celebrates the end of Ramadan with open houses where Muslim families invite neighbors, regardless of religion, to share food. Deepavali lights up Little India neighborhoods with oil lamps and colorful decorations. Thaipusam sees Hindu devotees carrying kavadi up the Batu Caves steps in a spectacular display of devotion. Christmas gets celebrated in malls and hotels, even though Christians make up a minority. Experiencing these festivals adds cultural depth to any visit. Adventure activities exist for every thrill level. Whitewater rafting in Gopeng costs around 150 to 250 ringgit per person, about $34 to $56 for half-day trips through jungle rapids. Scuba diving certifications in the Perhentian Islands run cheaper than Thailand or Indonesia, with open water courses around 1,200 to 1,500 ringgit, roughly $270 to $340, including accommodation packages. Jungle trekking in Taman Negara can be done independently or with guides, charging 150 to 300 ringgit for full-day treks. Caving in Mulu National Park in Sarawak takes you through some of the largest cave chambers in the world. The coffee culture explosion happened recently and transformed Malaysian cities into caffeine lover paradises. Specialty coffee shops in Kuala Lumpur serve quality flat whites and pour-overs for 12 to 18 ringgit, which is $2.70 to $4. These aren't Starbucks clones, but independent roasters sourcing beans locally and from neighbouring countries. Traditional kopitiam, old-school coffee shops, still serve thick, sweet coffee for 2 to 3 ringgit, while offering a glimpse into authentic Malaysian morning routines. The contrast between hipster third-wave cafes and traditional kopitiams existing on the same street captures Malaysia's blend of old and new perfectly. Digital nomad infrastructure keeps improving as Malaysia positions itself for remote workers. Co-working spaces in Kuala Lumpur, like Common Ground or Work, offer day passes around 50 to 80 ringgit, roughly $11 to $18, with high-speed internet, unlimited coffee, and networking events. Internet speeds in major cities rival developed countries, with fiber connections common in hotels and apartments. The cost of living allows digital nomads to maintain comfortable lifestyles on modest incomes. A serviced apartment in a decent Kuala Lumpur neighbourhood rents for 2,000 to 3,500 ringgit monthly, about $450 to $790, often including utilities and internet. Medical tourism contributes significantly to visitor numbers, though these tourists look different from typical vacationers. Malaysian private hospitals like Prince Court or Glen Eagles meet international standards at fractions of Western costs. A knee replacement surgery costs around 40,000 to 60,000 ringgit, roughly $9,000 to $13,500, compared to over $50,000 in the United States. Dental work, cosmetic procedures, and health screenings attract medical tourists who combine treatment with vacation time. These visitors stay longer and spend more than average tourists, boosting the overall tourism economy. Architectural diversity makes Malaysian cities visually fascinating. The Islamic influence appears in mosques with intricate geometric patterns and towering minarets. Chinese shophouses, with their narrow facades and ornate details, line streets in Georgetown and Malacca. British colonial buildings, like the Sultan Abdul Samad Building, showcase Moorish architecture with copper domes and clock towers. Ultra-modern skyscrapers, including the Petronas Towers and Merdeka 118, currently the second tallest building in the world, dominate the skyline. This architectural timeline, from colonial to contemporary, exists in concentrated areas, making city walks educational and photogenic. Wildlife encounters happen more easily than expected. The Sepilok Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in Sabah allows you to watch orangutans during feeding times for 30 ringgit entrance, about $6.7. Proboscis monkeys, found only in Borneo, can be spotted on river cruises along the Kinabatangan River for around 200 to 300 ringgit. The Malayan sun bear, the world's smallest bear species, lives in conservation centers that educate visitors about protection efforts. Sea turtle conservation projects on islands like Tioman need volunteers and welcome visitors to witness nighttime egg-laying or morning hatchling releases. These wildlife experiences feel authentic rather than exploitative. Historical significance runs deep in cities like Malacca and Georgetown, both UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Malacca changed hands between Portuguese, Dutch, and British colonizers, leaving behind forts, churches, and administrative buildings from each era. A Formosa fort ruins date back to 1511. Christ Church Malacca, painted bright red, was built by the Dutch in 1753. Walking through Jonker Street reveals Peranakan culture, a unique blend of Chinese and Malay traditions, visible in the ornate houses and fusion cuisine. Georgetown tells similar stories through its colonial architecture, clan houses, and street art that's become Instagram famous, but originated as genuine urban art projects. The lack of natural disasters makes Malaysia reliably safe from environmental catastrophes. The country sits outside the Pacific Ring of Fire, meaning earthquakes and volcanic eruptions don't occur. Typhoons and cyclones that devastate the Philippines and Vietnam rarely touch Malaysian shores due to its equatorial location. Flooding happens during heavy monsoon periods in certain areas, but nothing approaching the devastating floods seen elsewhere in the region. This geological stability means travelers don't need to worry about vacation-ruining natural disasters or safety risks from seismic activity. Local transportation options beyond the modern systems include charming alternatives. Trishaw rides in Malacca and Georgetown cost around 40 to 60 ringgit per hour, about $9 to $13.50 for leisurely tours through heritage areas with drivers who tell stories about the buildings and history. Traditional wooden boats called sampans ferry passengers across rivers for a few ringgit. The Star Ferry in Penang costs just 1.20 ringgit to cross the channel, offering spectacular views of Georgetown's skyline. These traditional transport methods provide experiences rather than just getting from point A to B. Nightlife variety caters to different crowds without the seediness that plagues some Southeast Asian party scenes. Rooftop bars in Kuala Lumpur, like Heli Lounge Bar or Marini's on 57, offer cocktails around 45 to 75 ringgit, roughly $10 to $17, with stunning city views. Beach bars in Langkawi stay open late with fire shows and live music without the aggressive touting found in Thailand. Night markets provide evening entertainment that doesn't involve alcohol at all, perfect for families or non-drinkers. The Muslim influence means nightlife never reaches Bangkok or Manila levels of intensity, which some travelers prefer. Photography opportunities exist everywhere you turn. The Blue Mosque in Shah Alam creates stunning reflections in its surrounding pools. Batu Cave's rainbow staircase has become one of the most photographed spots in Southeast Asia. Georgetown's street art by Ernest Zakharevich combines paintings with real objects like actual bicycles and motorcycles. The Cameron Highlands tea plantations create rolling green landscapes that look nothing like typical tropical imagery. Fireflies along the Kuala Selangor River create natural light shows that are difficult to photograph but incredible to experience. Every region offers distinct visual styles. Sustainable tourism initiatives are emerging as Malaysia recognizes the need to protect what makes it special. Marine parks around islands like Redang and Perhentian enforce strict rules about coral reef protection, banning certain sunscreens and limiting dive site access. Turtle sanctuaries focus on conservation and education rather than entertainment. Eco-resorts in rainforest areas practice minimal-impact tourism with solar power and waste management systems. These efforts remain imperfect, but show awareness that uncontrolled tourism development destroys the very attractions that draw visitors. The ease of combining multiple experiences in one trip sets Malaysia apart. You can start in Kuala Lumpur, experiencing city life. Take a quick flight to Borneo for jungle adventures and wildlife. Ferry over to islands for beach time, then head to the Cameron Highlands for cool mountain air and tea plantation tours. This variety within a relatively compact country means 2-week itineraries can include urban exploration, nature experiences, cultural immersion, and beach relaxation without feeling rushed. Most competing destinations force you to choose one focus. Value extends beyond basic costs to overall experience quality. A couple's massage at a legitimate spa costs 200 to 350 ringgit, roughly $45 to $79, for 90 minutes in clean facilities with professional therapists. Cooking classes teaching you to make rendang or char kway teow run 200 to 300 ringgit per person, including market visits and eating what you prepare. These experiences would cost double or triple in Western countries while delivering comparable quality. The value equation isn't about things being cheap, but about getting exceptional experiences at reasonable prices. 17 million tourists flooding into Malaysia in 2025 makes complete sense when you add everything together. The combination of affordability, diversity, safety, infrastructure, and authenticity creates a destination that checks every box for different types of travelers. Budget backpackers find incredible value. Luxury travelers discover high-end options at mid-range prices. Families appreciate the safety and variety. Adventure seekers find jungles, mountains, and underwater worlds. Food lovers experience one of the world's great culinary destinations. Digital nomads build comfortable lives on remote work incomes. What's happening isn't hype or temporary trend. Malaysia invested in tourism infrastructure while maintaining authentic culture and reasonable prices. They made strategic decisions on visa policies that opened access to massive populations. The government balanced development with preservation better than neighbors who overdeveloped their attractions into tourist factories. The result is a country hitting its stride exactly when travelers are looking for alternatives to overcrowded, overpriced traditional destinations. If you're planning travel in 2025 or beyond, Malaysia deserves serious consideration. The 17 million tourists heading there aren't wrong. They're recognizing value, diversity, and quality that much of Southeast Asia lost while chasing tourism dollars. Malaysia kept what makes travel meaningful while building the infrastructure that makes it comfortable. That combination is rare and worth experiencing before the secret gets out and everything changes. Check flight prices, start researching regions that match your interests, and seriously consider joining the millions discovering what Malaysia offers. You'll understand why this country is having its moment.